Sir, you were quoted in the Baptist News Global referring to the end of Title 42, and you said that the dangers facing asylum seekers are more acute than they were years ago when the Trump administration started these policies, and these policies have contributed to a worsening of the conditions that face migrants and people seeking asylum. Did you make that statement?
I don't remember my exact words, but I probably did.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Wolf? I believe, like my colleagues, that I don't believe that Mr. Mayorkas is incompetent. I think that he is derelict in his duty because I think everything that he's done is actually done on purpose. Do you share that view?
I do. This is by design.
Right. And so when, you know, I've been an administrator, and when I've made mistakes and I listen to my folks and say, hey, why didn't that go the way that I wanted it to, I would listen and say it and kind of change things. But Mr. Mayorkas kind of doubles down. And so when, in the first days of the Biden administration, a bunch of policies that the Trump administration had put in place in order to secure the border were overturned, and then things started to go south in a really big way. Do you know firsthand if people in the border, that Customs Border Patrol agents actually advised Mr. Mayorkas that, hey, you need to reverse these policies to stop this, you know, this tidal wave that's coming into the United States?
Again, I wasn't there. It's my understanding that they did. Chief Scott was there in the Border Patrol advising the Biden administration, so I'm sure he can answer.
Well, Mr. Scott, can you answer that question?
Yeah, he was informed verbally, he was informed in writing, and I think it's important for everybody to understand everything fundamentally changed. When I worked for Secretary Wolf, we had team meetings. We were asked for our input. We were told over your career what works and what doesn't work. On January 20th, 2021, that all got shut off. DHS, the Secretary even went to the step of shutting down the integrated teams of career professionals that were brought into DHS ops to provide guidance. Our input was no longer solicited, and when my team and I gave it unsolicited, we were basically put in a box. They did not want to know what we had to say. They made it very clear, expedite processing and find new ways to let migrants into the U.S. That was the only agenda.
Exactly, which is on purpose, really circumventing U.S. law.
100% on purpose, scripted out, and the Secretary is not incompetent.
No, I know he's not incompetent. He's derelict, without a doubt. Mr. Wolf, back to you. When you had the Remain in Mexico policy, and people were told to remain in Mexico, and then they had their asylum hearings, what percentage of those that were seeking asylum were actually granted asylum?
Again, it would have been under that about 10 to 15%. The number that grant asylum has been holding for years now. About 80 to 85% do not qualify, and about 10 to 15% do qualify, and we saw that again under MPP as well.
All right, so those are the people that actually qualify to get into the United States, are granted, paroled into the United States, given some kind of legal status in the United States because they actually have a valid asylum claim. Now, when you get rid of that, and then you allow them to come into the United States, and then you don't, well, the law also says that if you're seeking your asylum, you're supposed to be detained until your hearing, correct?
Correct.
That's not happening right now, is it?
It is not.
Okay, so now you've got all the people who are coming into the United States. They're actually being granted, entry into the United States. So you're actually increasing the number of migrants entering the United States illegally, because they don't really have a valid asylum claim, by about 80%. Would you agree with that number?
That sounds about right.
Okay, and so we don't even know where they are. We don't know where some of them are being tracked, some of them are not being tracked. We don't know where 85,000 children are at this point. I consider that to be a dereliction of duty. Children, 85,000, we don't know where they are. Did that ever happen under the Trump administration?
85,000, no, absolutely not. Again, you have an unaccompanied alien child crisis at the moment, 380,000. And so when if you happen to go to the baseball game tonight, that fills National Stadium almost 9 times. That's how many children that have come across that border that have no parent, have no guardian, that have been smuggled by these Mexican cartels at the behest, sometimes of their parents, because they know that if they get across that border, they will remain here in the United States. And it is a terrible journey. You are subjecting them to just horrific conditions, and it needs to end.
And the Democrats dare to call what happened during the Trump administration inhumane. My time is up. I yield back.